Okay, here I'm Dylan on a per chance. I just happened to run into Bryce, self-proclaimed genius of Canadian football. We didn't plan this because we're not organized at all. Bryce, what did you think of the game?
I thought it was a hard-fought game. I thought they scored more points than I thought it was going to be a blowout from the beginning when Calgary scored all those quick scores, but they fought back.
That's the thing. It was a war. It was a war. Even that 56-yard field goal, it was a war. Bryce, was it a war?
It was a battle here at Mosaic Stadium. The Riders defended their home turf, but unfortunately they came out a little bit short, and they just weren't testing Calgary's defense deep, I think.
Somehow I made it onto the Maxtron. Did you happen to see that?
I did see you with the chips and the ruffles. You happened to open them up. You were eating them quite aggressively.
Oh my God! Rough Riders lose. It was a battle. Go Riders! Rider Outsiders podcast right now.
Welcome to the Rider Outsiders, where we talk CFL football and your Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm Mitch Wiles with Dylan Robson and the self-professed genius of Canadian football, Bryce Wiles. Dylan, how are you doing tonight?
You know what? I'm doing good. It was a hell of a game, but hey, we survived.
And what was Bryce talking about the chips?
So here's the thing. My wife and I, we go to all the football games. We've been going for 10 plus years, 11 years. And we always said, because we sit up pretty high, if we ever get on that big screen, if we ever get on the SaskTel Maxtron, what are we going to do? Oh, we'll do this. Oh, we'll do that. And so she gets up and she steps away. It was for like 4 or 5 minutes. She steps away. All of a sudden, the camera comes up. They start throwing bags of chips. I'm on the big screen. I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. So I open a bag of chips that they threw at me. I start pouring it down my throat in front of the big screen. There's chips flying everywhere, chips flying in my eye. Some of them landed in my mouth, maybe. And all of a sudden, the crowd at the stadium starts cheering and laughing. And so I just, made a complete fool of myself.
Hammed it up.
But, hey, it's football, right?
All right. We have Jordan Williams-Lambert coming up later in the show, receiver for the Roughriders. But what's next, Bryce?
You know what I think we need to do? I think it's time for some quick hits.
You know what, guys? Before we get into it, I just want to say something else real quick here. When we started this podcast, it wasn't because I'm some kind of football expert that I need to tell everybody how the football plays need to go. We did this, and I did this because I'm a fan of Saskatchewan Roughriders football. And hey, this podcast, it's a hell of an excuse to talk football. Sure, I have opinions on what I would have done if I was the head coach, like most fans do have opinions. But you know what? As a fan, I watch because I love exciting football. And I always make it clear on here, I'm not the coach. I'm a fan. Yes, I want to win, but if we lose, I'm not going to go online and have a conniption fit. Mm-hmm. So when I see fans flooding their comments, demanding that Chris Jones be fired, I think it's crazy talk. We have Jones for the length of his contract. Firing him is not the answer. I won't even entertain the idea on this podcast of having a conversation about firing Chris Jones because we're 3-3. I think some of those fans need to bring it down a level, enjoy the football, because that was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a close, almost made a comeback there. It was football. It was hard-hitting, and it was awesome. So, that's what I wanted to get off my chest. That's what I wanted to tell everybody out there.
I agree. I totally agree.
We're not firing Chris Jones.
Well, I guess we're not doing quick hits this week, so let's get right into the game with Riders versus Stamps. What'd you see, Mitch?
Well, I was playing slow pitch, and I came home, and it was already 24-0. So I missed the debacle that was the first quarter, and I got to watch the Riders, chip away and try to come back and make it quite a game out of it. You guys were both at the game. I assume that going from a high from kickoff to 24-0 must have been pretty difficult to watch.
Well, it was pretty deflating when they gambled 3rd and 1, and it was a shotgun draw. What Dylan was preaching about last week, a failed shotgun draw, and then after that the wheels kind of fell off. But then they put the wheels back on, and they started to just try and ride that bus to a victory, but didn't quite get there.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We were actually down on field level just as the game was starting, so we got to bring out the Riders right there on field level, and so we were making our way back up to our seats just as that third down gamble happened, and watching on the big screen as we were walking up, and saw that the Riders didn't make it, and then I instantly just remembered back to the Hamilton game where we stuffed them early on the third down gamble, and it was a big momentum swing. And I thought, you know what, whatever, we'll get through that, and then see that touchdown pass happen, first play of Calgary possession, and then that's deflating. So what do you say to yourself? You say, we'll bounce back. It's one touchdown, whatever. Then we go 2-0, I think, and then it was a Calgary field goal. And we go 2-0 again, basically, and then it was a punt return touchdown for Calgary. And then it's okay, we got the ball back. Just settle down here. Let's slow it down. Messam fumbles the ball on a run. Probably a shotgun draw. I don't know. Messam fumbles the ball, and that turns into a Calgary touchdown pass. So then it's like 24-0, and you're like, what is going? Like yeah. At that point, you start to panic and you think, what if it's just like, is it going to be 50-0 by the time we hit halftime? Like, I don't know. So
yeah. When I saw Williams return that punt for a touchdown, it's like he didn't even make a move or a cut. It just seemed like he ran in a straight line, and then nobody touched him, and he was in the end zone. So it was pretty quiet after that in the first quarter.
But then things sort of turned around here. Second quarter, it was 13 unanswered points from the Riders. And I don't think Calgary scored until, halfway through the third there. So it really showed that the defense seemed to pick up their socks, and Bridge, and with all those screen passes and runs up the middle, seemed to be working. Though we had a lot of field goals, right? I guess Brett Lawler had, 5 field goals there? What do you guys see from him? Holy smokes, quite the leg.
Yeah, when I saw him line up for that 56-yarder, I mean, let's keep in mind, 56 yards. You're on that 55-yard line and back one more yard. Like, that is a big field goal. Yeah.
That's a huge field goal. And
it's huge.
And you brought some tape back. Let's throw that on right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, that was the 56-yard field goal. Again, 5 for 5 for the day.
Yeah, you know what? And it was 56-yard field goal. And I think he had the distance to actually go 56.5 if he needed to. So
on TV, it looked like he just got over that crossbar. Yeah, like that was his max for that day.
Yeah, maybe 57. Might have hit 57. I don't know. But it wasn't just a 56-yarder. It was a 49-yarder. It was a 47-yarder, and then two 35-ish field goals as well. Lawler answered the call.
It's going to be hard to sit him down, I guess. Like, he's just supposed to be filling in.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't think Jones sees that either. You got a chance to hit a 56-yarder when we are in desperate need of points, and he answers the call the way he did. That's a starter for Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Jones isn't going to be like, well, maybe I'll bench you.
Well, he can't, right? He can't put him back on a practice roster. Another team will pick him up easy, right? Showing what he's done so far. They'll just have to choose Krapinga or Levi Mitchell. And yeah, he's on the 6-game injury list, but he's had some great years as well, and also he's a young guy, 25. But guys, here we go. This is probably Dylan, what you're hearing or seeing all the negative comments online about the play calls on offense. So Brandon Bridge goes 19 for 29, 147 yards, no interceptions. So I think that was the goal, but also no touchdown passes, no big passes. So what do you guys think about this sort of 5-yard type of offense we're doing?
I think that it can be effective for sure. I think that when you start to hear the fans booing in the stadium, when we go 2-0 or shotgun draw, shotgun draw. I think there might have been back-to-back shotgun draw on a 2-0 at some point in the game. But when you start to hear the fans turn on the play calling, it's not because of any other reason aside from the fact that we think it's time for a little more desperation football or a little more maybe a little switch in the game plan. So yeah, it's good to establish the run, but when you're doing a run play from your own 10-yard line or your own 15-yard line, and it's fourth quarter and you're down by 10 points or whatever it was, and then you do a screen on the second pass, like on the second play, and you've been doing that the whole game, and it didn't work, then fans get frustrated. So yeah, I think there should have been a little bit more desperation in the fourth quarter from the Riders' play calling. Yes, let's let Bridge throw some deep balls. I don't care if Calgary's defense thinks they're hot stuff. Let's attack the defense. Establish the run if you need to, but you can't establish the run if you don't plan to pass the ball. So yeah.
I think those runs were not trying to set up the pass. I think they were just hoping to break some runs. I guess what Thigpen had his big 80-yard run last week. They're hoping to get some big plays off those runs because they just never pushed the ball down the field in the passing game. What do you got, Bryce?
Well, yeah, they were running it a lot. I mean, Thigpen had 10, but he only had 23 yards for 10 carries, and Trey Mason went 6 for 37. But Bridge had his kind of eye on Williams-Lambert, who we were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
But again, only 5 receptions for 19 yards. So I think they have their sights on the right players. They're just not getting the results they need. And even later on in the game, I saw a lot of dropped passes from the wide receivers. So I'm not going to put it all on Bridge. There was definitely a lot of dropped passes. And there was also, though, a lot of too many time count violations from the offense, whether that's communication error or not getting the play in or just not being comfortable on the field.
Well, I was watching on TV. You guys were at the game, so definitely after that second one, he pointed at his helmet like Bridge was upset he didn't get that play in time, and I think we have a little bit of tape from that. Here's how the crowd reacted.
Oh, damn, yeah. Hey, that's 2.
Time count violation. Saskatchewan, number 16. Second down.
All right, there's a crowd, and Dylan, we can hear you getting a little upset there in that second time count.
No, that wasn't me. That was someone else. The thing is, right at that point, that's when the fans really
You can't do that in the fourth quarter.
No. Yeah, and we talk about our home field advantage, and they always put up the big graphic when the other team gets the time count or procedure. It's like, look what the fans did because they're so loud, and and then we're quiet. And then it happens to us. And it's like, come on, guys, figure it out. There's no excuse for 2 time count violations. I can imagine 1 time count, makes Chris Jones's blood boil. 2, I'm surprised he's not having a stroke right there on the sidelines.
Well, you know what else I saw? We're talking about the offense still. And we're talking about how they're doing these screens and these kind of short crossing routes. And one thing is, about those plays is they're high percentage plays, but they're also very dangerous because we saw Roosevelt just get pile drived north-south right on his head. And then we didn't see him come back into the game, but we did see someone on the defense play as a wide receiver, which everybody's talking about here in Saskatchewan. And do you know who that is?
Yeah, DC, Deron Carter. You know what? And I saw Deron. He was open a few times. He was open a couple times, and Bridge in the middle of his scrambles wasn't able to find him. And I think that's a shame. And I don't know if that's because maybe Deron Carter and Bridge don't have that chemistry because they hadn't been playing together as much. Maybe not. But Carter was on the field, and he was open more than once. And we didn't get the ball to him when we should have. There was a lot of times where Brandon was scrambling, and it was like the receivers couldn't get open. Usually when a QB starts scrambling and the play breaks down, receivers have a scramble route that they change to. And that didn't even seem to work, right? So, Calgary's good. But Bryce pointed something out about the hit Roosevelt took.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a hard-hitting game. There were some wicked hits. There were some wicked hits on special teams. There was, a lot of that stuff the TV cameras don't pick up, and, if you're lucky to see it live, but number 32 for us there, Gagne, yeah. He had 2 incredible special teams tackles, like major. And And that's something, because he was sort of a new player for me. I'm experiencing him for the first time, so that was exciting to see.
Now, the Riders had some positives, and we sort of glossed over how they started the big turnaround. Toby Antigua, defensive end, moves into like a linebacker, then he drops into a safety role, and he picks off Bo Levi Mitchell, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, returns it for a touchdown. Talk about that moment, because that was the moment when when the tide sort of changed, and we got a chance to make a comeback.
Totally. It was almost like a jump ball, really, because Bo Levi there, he threw, it wasn't a lob, but it was a high pass, and it was anybody's ball at that point. And Toby Antigua, he definitely jumped. He fought for the ball. He got that pick, and he earned that pick, and he was not going to be stopped, for the pick six, which was awesome to see. I mean, it was, you talk about that momentum. As a fan, that's when you're just like, we got this. Calgary, we got this, but we didn't.
Talking about the defense, Hughes makes it into the top 10 in sack leaders. Is that the stat? Do you have more?
I believe, and I heard that on the broadcast as well. I think he's the top 10 in the league now for all-time sacks. So, and Hughes, before the game, he sort of made a promise that he was going to get to Bo at least once during the game. He made 2 sacks during the game. Definitely a highlight on defense is Charleston Hughes this year. We've been saying that pretty much all year.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the sacks, because I think it was the fourth quarter. There's about 3 minutes, 50 seconds left or something like that. And Hughes, I can't remember who was running towards him. I think it might have been the running back, but Hughes basically got flipped upside down and still managed to somehow wrap up the runner and do a tackle. I'm sure if you saw it on TV, you would have seen that replay, because it was an incredible tackle by Hughes. He was down and out of the play, but still managed to get the tackle there. So, I mean, he's playing hard until the very end.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like an aging veteran at all out there. Now, before we get to our big feature interview with Jordan Williams-Lambert, JWL, or J, what was the other nicknames he threw at you, Dylan?
Oh, you're going to have to wait for the interview and hear it.
Sorry. But so I do want to get to our Suitor Says segment. So usually I'm watching the broadcast and I'm hearing 3-time CFL All-Star TSN commentator and writer great Glenn Suitor throwing out some knowledge. Now, Dylan, you're saying the Rider fans should chill out a little bit about calling for the head of Chris Jones. Suitor was pretty much calling out Chris Jones a little bit, saying, I don't see a full playbook for Brandon Bridge, and that the team should either give him the full playbook and let's see what Brandon Bridge can do as a quarterback, let him be a quarterback, or play somebody else. What do you think about that, Dylan?
It's a good analysis from a guy who's watching it and having to pick apart what he's seeing, right? But the thing is, we don't know the playbook. We don't know what Jones is showing. Maybe that is the full playbook. Maybe they need to make it bigger. I don't know. I do know that after the game, Jones was talking about his strategy. And he was very clear. He was saying the game plan was runs and screens. Calgary does that really well, and we wanted to hit them with a bit of their own medicine. And that's why later in the game, when a lot of the fans felt like we were supposed to be doing those big passes, trying to find the big wide receivers, open in the backfield, we were still sticking to the screens and the runs. And so, it got a little frustrating. So I don't know if it was that we were seeing a partial playbook or if it was just the fact that Jones was so stuck on that game plan that he didn't want to deviate from it. Obviously, I think against Edmonton, we're going to see some adjustments because he said it also in that same post-game press conference. He's like, I will tell Edmonton right now, we're going to do runs and we're going to do screens. He said it. He said right to Edmonton, we're going to do it again. So I think we're going to do it again, but we're going to do it with a little bit of adjustments. So I do think we'll see some longer pass attempts from Bridge against Edmonton.
Well, the other thing on the broadcast, they were talking about maybe they're setting up for the big pump fake and they're going to take a shot at some point. Never happened. What do you think, Bryce? Did they just reel in the playbook with Bridge and they didn't want him throwing passes, scared that he's going to throw an interception?
Well, first of all, that was a really great impression of Jones there, Dylan. And secondly, I'd have to say from what I was seeing, it just didn't seem like the receivers were getting open. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for them to go deep, and everybody's calling for it. And even I was at the game, I was thinking, why aren't they throwing it deep? But I think when you're up 24-0, you start to kind of play a little bit back on the defense and kind of like to prevent. And the only thing that was left available for the Riders was the underneath and the run game.
Yeah, and I think you're pretty right there, Bryce, because they also did that with their offense. They got pretty, what's the word? Not aggressive. What's opposite from aggressive?
Not aggressive.
Timid.
No,
Timid?
conservative.
No.
Conservative. That's what I was searching
Yes.
for. They got very conservative. They were running the ball a lot, nothing too dangerous. They didn't want to turn the ball over, and they stopped scoring points. And they sort of downgeared a little bit. It seemed like. But
just playing the clock, really, just running the clock out. The one thing I did think Jones made a good decision was where he sent the old Calgary players to the coin toss. It was Messam and Hughes, and I don't know if I know who the other one was, but that was I think that was a good choice by Jones to send the old players there to kind of try and get in their head, but didn't seem to work.
We won the coin toss. So there's that.
Anything else about the game we want to hit before we go into our interview?
I just want to say Roosevelt, I mean, with that hit that he took, landed right on his head. They said it wasn't, they didn't take him out for concussion protocol. They took him out because there was some soreness in his neck. So I don't know what's worse news, soreness in your neck as a receiver after landing on your head or concussion. But Roosevelt does get named in this interview that you're about to hear from JWL, Jordan Williams-Lambert. And, so we had the chance to talk to him. I believe it was Thursday practice. So they were geared up. They were ready for this game. And the receivers, they were on the field well past the rest of the team. The receivers were running routes. The whole team had come off the field. Jones had left the field. The receivers were still out there, still doing routes. So JWL was literally the last guy on the field.
Okay, here it is.
Hello, everybody. This is Dylan Robson along the sidelines here at practice field at Mosaic Stadium with Roughriders receiver Jordan Williams-Lambert. Thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us on the show.
No problem. Great to be here.
So if you could just go back to the beginning here, this year when training camp came around and as it came to a close, we saw that there was 3 veteran receivers cut from the team. And so can you just take us back to camp and tell us how you found out that you made the team and what that was like for you?
I mean, just like you guys heard the news, I had heard the news and kind of saw it and kind of, got the gist of what the situation was. And, I mean, it was a moment of, excitement, but at the same time, those are my brothers, and we had established camaraderie over, the preseason, the camp and everything. So there was a lot of bond there that, kind of got separated, but it's part of the business, We sometimes you got to live with, the decisions they make in the upper office and, kind of live with it.
Yeah, so this is a very exciting opportunity for you. Who on the team now, sort of, do you look up to? Is there anybody mentoring you aside from the coaches?
I would say my biggest mentor has been Naaman, just with, how he carries himself, how he's been playing the game for a while, and just watching some of the, details he puts in his routes as far as, messing with the defense and making everything look kind of the same so that, they can't guess what you're doing.
Now, your first TD catch this year came from a highlight reel catch from Collaris. Did you keep that ball?
Actually, I didn't. I wish I did, but I'll get another one. The goal is to get another one and keep that one, so it's in my mind for next time.
Did you realize that you pass off the ball to the ref or something?
I kind of tossed it. As you know, I did the celebration and the fillet finger roll, and I wasn't worried about the ball after that, so I kind of ran off. But in my mind, if I had processed it, I probably would have went back and got it and, went back to the sideline.
So what were your expectations of the CFL before you came to the CFL, and how does that compare to your understanding of it now?
My expectation was just it was football, and a lot of my older friends, kind of told me to take that mindset in here because it's a different game. I mean, it's a lot different than the game down south of us, and there's a lot of new rules and ways of doing things, and obviously the running start, which they call the waggle, and, different changes like that. But, you can't come in worried about that. All you can do is come in with an open mind, ready to adapt and, make those changes.
So we'll go a little different route here. You play against the Roughriders defense through practice. You get to see them play during the game days. We at the podcast, we're looking for a nickname for the Roughriders defense. Do you got any ideas, anything you guys have talked about in the back here? Anything, the official nickname for the Roughriders? No pressure, but do you have any ideas?
I would say the Savages. And when I say Savages, I mean a relentless, effort. Like, as in, as you see the past couple games, you see how they're swarming to the ball and the tenacity they have towards making those tackles, hard hits, even our rush ins, the momentum they bring off the edge, our DBs, how physical they're playing. You got Sam, you got Moncrief, you got the linebacker. I love the defense. I love their energy. And the only way I can describe that is just being savage, just coming out there and wreaking havoc on the offense.
Kind of like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
And then what about yourself? Sort of Jordan Williams-Lambert, it can be a mouthful to say when the play is happening. So do you yourself have a nickname, something we could call you for short?
J-Dub, J-Will. I'm not too picky on that. If you guys can come up with something that, kind of sticks, I wouldn't mind, going with that either. But,
we were going with Billy Burt. Not sure if you like that, though.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I'll tell you if I like it. So if you guys come up with something and I like it, I'll be sure to tell you guys I like it.
Okay, we'll take Billy Burt off the list there. And then just what has been your most memorable moment this season for you so far?
I would say last game. I feel like we came together as a team and saw the goal that needed to be accomplished, and we worked together to make sure that happened, even through the adversity. And I think as the season goes on, there's going to be plenty of times where we have to, believe in each other and come together and find a way to find the energy and the plays to come out with the win. And I think that makes, teams great.
And final question here. You guys play the Calgary Stampeders at Mosaic Stadium on Saturday. The podcast will air just after that. But what do you have to do personally to be successful against Calgary's defense?
Just do my job. I know Calgary's, undefeated and whatnot, but end of the day, it's a football game. They bleed like we do. It's the same. It's same league, same. It's everything's the same. Obviously we're coming in trying to be better than we were last game, and just do the right things. If I do my job and do it to the best of my capabilities, then that's all I can handle. And the rest is up to, everybody doing their job, and we're just going to make sure we handle our job. And if everybody handles their job, then we're good. I think we're a good team, and we'll be fine.
Great. Thank you so much.
So you notice J-Dub there, J-Will, JWL, not Billy Burt.
No.
Whatever you do.
No,
JWL.
That's not it.
He said in order to beat Calgary, he just has to do his job. And I think that is true, but I don't necessarily think he got a chance to do his job. So I think either it might have been Calgary was just too well prepared, too good on defense. But we haven't heard the last of JWL.
No, yeah, I'm a big fan. He's big inside receiver. Yeah, he went 5 receptions, 19 yards. So yeah, a bunch of little passes, hard yards. Okay, so it's time for the Rouge.
Oh, boy.
So, as it's tradition here, we have a live intro for the Rouge. The Rouge.
We're doing it live again. Have you been recording it?
It's always got to be live.
I think we've been.
Maybe we should Bryce?
All right, Bryce, you are up to intro the Rouge. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
All right. We have this segment coming up, and it's called The Rouge. 1.1 point for you to make for your Rouge. Oh.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Fight through it.
Okay, yes. So, that's it. Riders Outsiders, The Rouge. All right, I got a Rouge for you. Here we go. My Rouge for the week. The CFL is, first and foremost, a passing league. The CFL throws the ball. And we saw it this week. You saw Masoli. He was throwing it to Lawrence, making that amazing one-handed catch. You got Winnipeg with Nicholas hooking up to Dembski. He had 5 receptions, 1 touchdown. He had another touchdown on a jet sweep. Riley to the Duke Williams. He was 4 for 2 touchdowns. We saw Bo Levi in the first quarter throw that perfect over-the-shoulder, pretty much undefendable type of pass. If it's done perfectly, the defense just really can't defend that far side shoulder flag route. And he was thrown to Daniels for 6 times. So we're seeing in the CFL, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, they're getting connected. We're seeing some combos, and we're seeing the offense stretch the defense deep. And that's what I'd like to see in the CFL. And all these quarterbacks are showing how they're top-notch athletes.
All right.
That's not a bad point, and it kind of works with maybe what I was going to say here as well. There is a lot of good passing. We saw it from Calgary. We see it, from Ottawa, Hamilton. They're doing a lot of good high energy offense here. And Jones, as we mentioned here a couple times already, he's bringing it down a level. He's trying to go with the runs and the screens and changing it up. So maybe there is something to being the odd team out. But here's the rouge that I want to get across, and it's a little reiteration of what I said at the beginning of the podcast here. We are fans of football, and we love to watch exciting football, and that game was exciting. So let's enjoy the moments and excitement and passion and heartbreak that the Rough Riders give us. And yeah, let's go online and say, oh man, what if we would have did this? Oh, why didn't we have Carter doing this instead? Why didn't Bridge get to throw these foot? Let's do that. Let's talk football all we want after the game. But let's not call for people to get fired. Let's not say, you know what, this guy needs to lose his livelihood because we're only 3-3. So I just want to that's the point. That's the rouge. That's the point right there. The single point is it's not our job to call for people to get fired. It's our job to watch the game, have fun, and then talk about what we could have done differently. That's all.
Good rouge. That was a good rouge.
Yeah, that's your point. All right, so I'm going to try to maybe take Bryce's point. I'm going to refine a little bit, do a little spin on it, and say, if you want to win football games in the CFL, you need a quarterback that can make all the passes. If that's the corner route, the flag, the little dump pass, he has to have the touch to make that nice little screen pass. You can't just fire it in at the guy. You need a quarterback that can make all the passes. You need a leader on that offense. You're not going to win football games by running it up the middle and throwing 5-yard passes. Defenses are going to figure that out. You got to test them deep at some point. Will you beat some teams? Maybe. Are you going to win Grey Cups doing that? It's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, you're not going to beat Calgary running the old college option, which I saw on the field.
Though they were pretty sneaky with that. They got Watford out there pretty quick, and he can run like crazy.
How many times have these guys seen the college option, right? Like, this is pro football.
That's true, but if it's executed properly, he can work, right? If the guys bite on one of them and get that ball to the other guy. Mm-hmm. Mitch, you bring up a good point about that, throwing every pass. I'm reminded of a guy like Henry Burris or Ricky Ray. Even Bo Levi Mitchell's good at it too. One thing Henry Burris did so well was those out routes, where it's like 8-yard pass, 9-yard pass to the sidelines. It was basically undefendable. Burris he would just fire a 35-yard bullet from the snap right to the sidelines, and the play would be over in 2 seconds. And it's like, well, they could just do that all day sometimes. And it's because Burris was so good at those types of passes and a lot of the other passes too.
And it sounds like Watford has that type of arm strength. I'm not sure if Bridge has. I'm still a Bridge fan, but if you can't make that big throw, then that doesn't exist then. That's not in the playbook anymore. Then you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. All right. That's the rouge. We're moving on to our candidates for the meh of the week. The meh of the week, everyone.
All right. I'll start off a meh of the week. You got, out in the East, you got the first place Ottawa Redblacks, and they win a game on 7 field goals. You're first in the East, and you can't even score a touchdown. They still won, but come on, you're putting it all on the foot of a rookie kicker, Ward, to give you 21 points to beat Hamilton 21-15. That's pretty meh. Come on, guys, let's score a touchdown here.
Dylan?
Oh, I'm up next. Okay.
Are you cracking a Coke?
I got a nice cold glass of cream soda.
No way.
Right here.
You got cream soda? My
The
goodness.
pink kind, not the clear kind.
Do you buy that in like a combo pack with a bunch of different flavors, or do you went straight up? You got a flat of cream soda.
It's actually a 2 liter. So
Oh, okay, all right.
yeah, it wasn't cracking cans.
You got to commit to a 2 liter. My goodness. Okay.
I know. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
All right. What do you got?
Met of the week.
I'll jump in if you're not quite ready, sir.
I'm always ready. 3rd and 1. You got to get 3rd and 1. I don't even care if it's 3rd and 2. If you're gambling, you get it. I mean, come on. You know who was in the crowd during the game? He goes on the big screen too. Chris Zarka, the Canuck truck. You don't believe me. I got a selfie with him, about halftime, and I'll post it. I'll show you. Canuck truck was there. And you know who could get 2 or 3 yards? The Canuck truck could get 2 or 3 yards. We got a new Canuck truck. We got Messam. I don't know what he's doing. You got to hit that hole, hit it hard. You got to get 1 yard. Losing the possession of the ball right away like that on the 3rd down gamble. Come on, guys.
That's a good meh. Very good meh.
Yeah. That's a good meh. It kind of
All
sounded like your meh from last week, though, but it could be wrong.
Yeah, well, you know what? That ain't my fault.
All right, here's what I got. James Franklin, the former starting quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts. The news breaking now that he's going to be benched for, I'm not sure if I haven't seen this other guy play yet, McLeod Bethel Thompson. So James Franklin.
Beautiful name.
It's
Just
yeah,
rolls off the tongue.
It's very
I
poetic.
like saying it, yeah. Bethel Thompson.
So this week, Toronto lost to Winnipeg 40-14. Franklin went 20 for 31, pretty good. 236 yards, not bad. But here's the thing: 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Head coach has had enough, I guess. James Franklin was the talk for 3 years about coming to Regina. This is the guy. This is the next big starting quarterback, and he's having a little bit of growing pains and a little bit of unexpected growing pains, I think. So I think he can still come back, but definitely underperforming. So that's my meh of the week, guys. Which one is going to win out here?
I think we're all winners here.
We're all winners?
Really,
Can you vote for yourself?
No, I don't
I'd
think you
vote
can
for
vote
myself.
for yourself.
Well, then I'm
let's
gonna
all vote
myself.
for each other, and then it's a 3-way tie.
There it is, 3-way tie for the meh of the week.
No. There's no ties in football.
I've already hit the sound effect. It's too late. All right, moving on to predictions for next week. We got first game up, Ottawa at Toronto. Bryce,
Well,
go for
I'll
it.
get you some predictions going because
I just told you.
genius,
I just told you that we got a new quarterback there for Toronto, but go for it.
Yeah, but listen, the genius went 4 for 4 last week. So if you wanna bet on Super Bowl
Whoa,
line, you wanna
Dylan,
go to
you want
Vegas.
to double check that? 4 for 4?
I went 4 for 4. That's
Okay.
why I'm the genius. So I'm going to
We'll
pick
believe you.
Ottawa in this one. They're going to beat Toronto. Toronto's going to have only not 3 days. I don't even know what day it is. But they don't have a lot of time to get their new quarterback in shape. I think Ottawa is going to steamroll Toronto.
All right, good point.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Ottawa as well. Toronto's just not ready to face a team like Ottawa. It's going to be Ottawa.
All right, so we're all picking Ottawa for Thursday. Next up is our Saskatchewan Roughriders in Edmonton. Dylan,
Well, you know
let's start with Dylan this time. We'll get to Bryce's negativity in a minute. Dylan, what do you see? Saskatchewan, Edmonton. How do we do it?
A lot of Thursday games happening this year. Just putting that out there. And I kind of alluded to it earlier. If we're going to stick with the runs and the screens throughout the game, we got to execute those properly. You got Jordan Williams-Lambert going 5 catches for 19 yards. That's not executing those screens properly. We got to get more yards. Those screens could be 20 yards sometimes, right? You got to get them done right. And then mix it up a little. So, yeah, do some runs and screens throughout the game. Don't just stick with that. You got to – what's the point of doing the run if you're not setting up for a long ball? Even a little play action or something.
Throw it up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a
And
long
the defense.
It's like a punt, right? If you really, give it a 50-yard throw, if they pick it off, as long as you tackle them, it's not a big deal. It's just the fumble from a run up the middle is worse than a long interception. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and Gainey sort of botched that first play from Calgary for that big touchdown pass they got right at the beginning. So no big mistakes early on. Had we stuffed Calgary on that first drive they did, that could have been a different game. So let's keep those mistakes to a minimum. Riders for the win in Edmonton, doing the big comeback, going 4-3.
All right, Bryce, what do you see? Saskatchewan at Edmonton.
I see Edmonton beating Saskatchewan. Unfortunately, they're going to go to Edmonton. And Edmonton, you got to remember, they scored 44 points this week. They were the highest scoring team this week. So as much as the defense can try and keep them to a low-scoring game, I just don't see the offense being able to score enough points to beat Edmonton. So I'm picking Edmonton at home this week.
I'm taking Saskatchewan, and I think, again, it'll be a tight game. Both teams under 20 points. Claros isn't ready yet. He'll be ready after the bye week, so we'll probably have Bridge back in there. And with how good the defense played against Calgary, I think it's possible we'll keep Edmonton to under 20 points. All right.
How good they played at times, yes.
Yes, again, I was playing slow pitch at the first quarter, so what I saw
yes.
It was quite the game.
Don't feel bad about playing slow pitch. The Riders were playing slow pitch in the first quarter, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, ouch.
Friday, Hamilton at Montreal. Quickly, guys, who do you have?
Well, this one is actually going to be tough. Hamilton's on a slide down, and Montreal's just got Johnny Money football.
That's right.
On the second week. So this is like the toughest one. Is Hamilton going to finally bounce back? They're on a 3-game losing streak, maybe more. I don't know. Montreal is last in the East, but
it's their time.
It's their time. So Hamilton, Montreal. I think it's a toss-up. I'm going to go with coin toss. Montreal at home.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. Montreal by 1 point. Dylan?
Yeah, I'll take Montreal. I think if it's not a Montreal win, it's a Montreal close loss.
Okay. And finally, Saturday, BC at Calgary. Will Calgary go 7-0? Bryce?
I think it's definitely Calgary is going to go 7-0. And last week I predicted they're going to have the perfect season, even though I'm not a Calgary fan. They're just looking that good. Calgary for the win at home.
Dylan?
I think the Calgary Stampeders are stupid, and I don't care what they do. They're probably gonna win. They're probably gonna win because Bo Levi Mitchell is just one of those guys that just gets what he wants whenever he wants it, and nobody can say anything. Otherwise he'll throw a Twitter fit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
spoiled brat.
Exactly. I'm picking Calgary because Bo Levi Mitchell is a spoiled brat. No. I'm joking. Bring it down a notch. I think that Calgary has shown that they're just hitting it on all facets of the game. Special teams, they got touchdowns. Defense, they're solid. Mitchell can do those long balls, short balls. He remains calm under pressure. Always has a screen guy to dump it off to. Calgary's good.
Yeah, Calgary with the win. It's hard not to pick Calgary in this one. And Henry, I think Bo Levi Mitchell is becoming one of the most hated opponent quarterbacks in some time here.
Without a doubt.
Oh.
Yeah, if we could move on to from no longer sticking with the Henry.
Oh yeah, the Henry chants. Yeah.
Let's just switch it up, Rider Nation. Levi. Let's do it. He deserves it.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of the show. Any final words, Bryce?
Well, I'd like to see Montreal maybe put old Johnny Clipboard in there and let him see what he can do in the CFL.
Last word goes to Dylan.
Rough Riders are 3-3, and that's pretty damn good. We've faced some pretty solid football teams, and we are holding our own. Last year, we almost made it to the Grey Cup through the East, but hey, what a ride it was. And this year, I can tell it's a ride already. So I'm enjoying every minute of this crazy season.
That's the show for this week. For Bryce Wiles and Dylan Robson, I'm Mitch Wiles, and this was the Rider Outsiders.